anytime, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah, today is day 2. I'm working with Buckshot here. He's made quite a change in the last 24 hours. He's really trying to find a place to be comfortable and at peace and not be in trouble. When we first put the halter on, did a little bit of stuff, he still could get a little tight. But then as soon as he realized he didn't have to be tight, this is what he turned into. So this is really the real horse that's underneath all this, with these problems that somebody else put there. And we're going to visit with Dale and Pat about this here, and because this is the kind of horse, this is what he really wants to be right here. But there's points out there where he's got a lot of his life, he's got a lot of energy, and his life is on the surface. If he gets reminded of a spot where he got in trouble when he was with somebody else, he's liable to go ahead and let that energy fly out. And it goes from 0 to 60. And he gets kind of lost, and that's when he's bothered. But then he comes back off it a lot faster now. If he gets a little trouble, now he wants to come back off it quicker. Say, wait a minute, I don't need that in my life. And this is what he is. And so yesterday when we first started, he was being kind of stud. I hadn't been worked him much. And he was playing around, running around, kind of taking over. And things was a bowl of cherries for him. Then we went to work and did a few things. But then we got in and we started doing what I call taking inventory of the horse and checking out where the problems were. And everything. And by golly, we found a few. See, so then we went to work on that. And it worked out. He's still a little nibbly here, but that won't. He'll be through that in a little bit too. Okay, we can go ahead and stop now. I'll take the camera now. We're in day 2 with Buckshot. Yesterday was quite a revealing day because we went through some of the basics, and the first 30 minutes to an hour, he was just running and kind of taking over and kind of acting like a stud. Well, then we started getting some changes, but he was still pretty tight. Now when we started getting in close and doing some things, there's some memories he had from the past on his road trip from this place that came back and flashed back, and he'd either drop a shoulder into you kind of tight, or he'd explode away from you really tight. He there was no place in there where he was comfortable. He'd go from 0 to 60. So we finally got to the point where he turned the corner and he found out that he could let down and that fear could go away. So we built on that before the end of yesterday's session. When we got done, he was just hanging out just like, boy, this is the greatest place on earth to be. So I think we made some progress yesterday with that fear. And so today what I want to do is just go do some little basic stuff with him that is very, very important. And these are going to be the building blocks that I would do with any horse in the world. He's not any different than any other horse on this respect. And he got to where he wasn't near as nippy. Now you noticed I asked him to come forward, but when he got to a certain place that I've decided, I said, okay, now you can stop. So this he picked up yesterday. Now the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to operate the front quarters over to his right, and then I'm going to get him to step over behind to the left. Then we'll do the reverse on going this way. And it's really important that you know how to operate all 4 corners of the horse. The mind, the body, the feet, and the legs. And if you can set this up, there's that right front foot. See, now there's a release. But you'll notice that he's now starting to understand how I prepare for something. So when he sees me prepare, he prepares. So I'll prepare him again, there. See, and he's floating the rope there. Okay, he had to move a little more, but that's all right. So we'll prepare him to step off to his left. That's good, and he kind of kept the weight back on the hind feet. That'll be real important someday when you want to cut a cow. You don't want the horse coming in on top of you. So now we're going to go over to his right again. Good. Now I'm going to step in here to the shoulder. we're going to get him to step over behind, like that. Now I'm going to fix it up over here and get him to step over behind again, that way, and leave the front end in place. Now I'll get back up here a little closer. You cannot get this too good in a horse. And if you can't accomplish this from the ground, you're not going to get it when you get on his back. And if you can't operate the front quarters independent of the hind, and yet all together, you're not going to be able to accomplish any of the more sophisticated moves in horsemanship later. So there again, we work on preparing his mind, body, and feet. Now you notice how I step into him here. There's all too many people, especially in groundwork when they're green, they have a tendency to say, okay, come on. And that's what happens. The horse comes out on top of them. But if you can prepare the horse, prepare his mind, body, and feet, and do that. See how that foot stepped over to the right? And look where my body language is. And how much did he weigh? And the rope never came tight. And it's important that we get our horses so light. Now to see he's not getting prepared here. This has been his traditional back spot. We'll wait on his feet. There. He prepared that time. But he had to come out first, but I waited for it. Now, one other thing I'd like to show here is that when I step into the hip, I'm going to raise this hand up pretty high. And what that's going to do is tip his nose up in the air here, and it's going to push his weight out through this shoulder, so this shoulder can't drop on me while I'm on that side. You can see the weight going out through his left shoulder. There's no way he can drop a right shoulder on me here. And he did it pretty much with floating a rope. Now when I go to his left side, you're going to see a little, he's not quite as good over there. But that's all right, we'll get that better. That's a whole bunch better than yesterday. Now what do you do with a horse that's got favors one side over the other? Pretty easy. You do it 2 times on the problem side and 1 time on the good side, until the bad side's caught up with the good side. Not any more difficult than that. But you notice too, his whole manner is different. Now I'm going to show you what kind of I'd like to back him. Release. Rather than stuck up there in the air like that. So I'll try to shake his head down first. He went ahead and back, but his head's not right. But every time a foot starts to leave the ground, there's a release. Now, release. 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 Okay, that wasn't real pretty, but that's the first time we've done that. When you want your horse to back, whether it be on the ground or from their back, you want that nose to come down and in, nice and soft behind your hands on the bit, where the bit's just laying on the tongue real soft. You want to be able to sit up, pick that nose up and tip your weight back in the saddle and weight on the feet. And when the foot comes leaves the ground to go back, when that foot's in the air, release that rein. Ask again. As soon as the foot leaves the ground, release the rein. Ask, release, ask, release. In the beginning, it'll be together, release. Then you'll get to where you can get in time with the feet later. So, but the release is the reward for everything you do with the horse. Let's cut there. Okay, let's start again. With him yesterday. What the horse does is he responds basically to pressure, and there's no meaning and no understanding, and there's no feel. He's just yielding to pressure. Then he got to where that got to be a little better, and a little bit of meaning and understanding started to creep into the picture, but there still was no feel. And that's basically where we ended yesterday. And today you could see, I could ask for his feet to move and there'd be some float in the rope and I'd get something. But I didn't ask for very much. I just wanted enough to where he could do it and understand it and be comfortable. So now today we're getting, using less and less pressure, there's more meaning, there's more understanding, and we're laying the groundwork for feel. You'll get to where when this hand goes up here, he's already prepared and gone. When I'm in the saddle someday, when I raise his hand up here, he's already there. So that's how the groundwork relates to the ride. And that's why see, now he's a little stickier on this left shoulder. That's all right. There's the hide. There's the hide. And here's the front. Let's see if he can feel his way around here without getting tight. Now we'll see if we can roll the hindquarters over. Let's see if we can go to the right. See if we can keep this nice and soft. He just cut the corner, see? That's all right. You got a little tight there. All right. Now the hindquarters. Now the front. Now the hind. You didn't quite know how to roll over. But block here, you thought he had to come in. And you see a lot of horses that are lunged a lot, that's what they do. They want to come in on you, rather than just stop and roll the hindquarters over. But he got going a little quicker than he was. I'll step in with my hand high, and we'll do the hindquarters. There. Now that's a long ways from good, but he is starting to soften up and around through the body, and there's a little arc in it now, but it's still too tight in there. When he finally gets it right, he'll be as soft as butter. When we're doing this groundwork, it'll look like we're doing a waltz. You could play the Blue Danube and it would fit. The same way if I was on his back. When I'm moving and controlling the feet and asking for things, I want it to be just as smooth there. So if I can build this in here, like that, that's not great. But I'll bet you right now there isn't a horse given a quarter mile here that can do that. Okay, we'll cut there. We just took a little pause there between takes, and we were talking about how much calmer he is today. And I mentioned that, yeah, and today it's really important for me to where he really has one terrific day today. Because yesterday was pretty tough on him until he found out that he'd be all right. And that first hour yesterday, you couldn't even get this close without him wanting to bite you or doing something. So what I want today is to build on these little small things, make sure he just really has a great time with us and enjoys our work. So where when we do it the next time, he can't wait to see us and go to work. And there'll be a day when he gets the when we put the saddle on and get ready for the first ride, we'll want to have the same attitude. So when he gets on that first ride and is around this pen, I don't care where he goes, as long as he moves. We're not going to worry about directing his feet. We're just going to get along on him, and I'm going to start today on the fence and how we get him ready to ride. But in the meantime, the more things I can do to build on this softness, the better. It doesn't have to be perfect yet. There isn't a day that your horse shouldn't be better tomorrow than he is today. How many times have you heard people go to a horse show, well, how'd you do? Oh, he didn't do very good. He peaked out on Friday. What do you mean he peaked out? There's no such damn thing. If you're a horseman or a horsewoman, your horse should be better tomorrow than it was today, and today should be better than it was yesterday. Like Tom Dorn said, observe, remember, and compare. If you know what it was when you started, and you remembered the way it was when you started, and then the next day it was better. So then you compared day 2 to day 1. Then the next day you compared day 3 to day 2 and day 1. And each time you had more to offer the horse, and the horse improved every single day. And so did you. So that mouthful of words from Tom is absolutely incredible. And how can 3 simple words mean so much? Then came feel, timing, and balance. And like we often say, and Ray said, first we feel of the horse, we feel for the horse, and then we feel it together. We feel of, for, and then together. When I'm in the saddle and I want that front end, I'm going to tip that weight back. I'm going to bring the front end over here. It's going to be nice and smooth to the left. I want to walk the hindquarters around this way, all 4 corners. He'll be supple. That's what we want. So it all starts right here. So it's real important today that he have a really comfortable day and just hang out. And we don't need to make a lot of trail dress, and we'll get a lot done. Okay. Today I'm going to introduce him to me being up here on the fence. Now this can be a scary thing to a horse if he's never seen this before, because you're way higher than his head. And horses are not real comfortable with that a lot of times. So I didn't ask him to come up to the fence yet. I want him to just sit there and be comfortable and size it up. Now, I'm not worried about placing his feet yet. I just want to get him used to me seeing me here. Now, I'm going to ask for him to move his foot and see if he can make it. There's the release. Now I'll let him sit there for a second. Now the next time I ask, I'm going to use my left hand. I'm going to go out to the left here a little bit. See, now he backed up, but then he felt the end of it, and then he came back off of it. So I'm going to ask for the foot to step over there. That's the same thing I was just doing on the ground over there, where I asked for that right foot to step over. Let's see if we can get his left front foot. There. There's the release. See, if we give that release, then that's very encouraging to the horse. There. So I've already proven in less than 2 minutes that I can at least move those front feet some. Okay. Now I'm going to ask him to come a little closer. I'm going to let him know. See how he reaches for my hand now? That's a big deal. See, up until just right there, one of the first time he actually reached for my hand. That's a big change. People miss that a lot. There's the release. And this is a horse, if he got scared, he could blow out of here, and this rope's not long enough to hold on to him. So I'm going to let his horsenality kind of check me out up here. You see, and he see that if you really play with a horse's curiosity, you can get a lot done. He said, now that's weird. I've never seen anybody sitting on a freaking fence like that. He's not sure what he's supposed to do there. That's okay. I'm not even going to direct his feet right now. He's not sure what. There was a little unsureness that came into him right there. He thought maybe I ought to back up a step. So when you see your horse getting a little unsure, don't fight it. Just start over. You'll be all right. But if you see unsureness and you decide to fight it, then all you do is make the unsureness even worse. And that's what happens when they blow away from you later. So it's all about building confidence in him, in his mind. We'll have him, it won't be too long when I can bring him alongside this fence, and I'll put a leg over his back and I'll swing the rope up from off here, and maybe the flag later. We'll get to maybe throw a gunny sack over on the ground over the fence here. But we're not going to overexpose him too fast. That could undo everything we've been building. So if he can, right now, I just want him to know, as long as he's in here, anywhere in here, he's going to be comfortable. It's a comfortable place. If you think about it, horses don't go out in the pasture or on their own. They don't go seek trouble. They go seek places of comfort and security. They're not going out and say, well, how much trouble can I go get in? They don't want trouble any more than I do. But sometimes we as humans, we approach it like that's what they're doing to us. Now, I mentioned yesterday, when we were all younger, when Tom was younger, Ray was younger, Buck was a kid, if we spent over 45 minutes and a horse had never been touched, getting the saddle and guilt for the first ride, we were taking too long. We acted like the sheriff was after us all the time. See, but then we were all younger. But we had a lot of horses, a lot of cattle to work. Time was precious. But now that I'm older, and especially working with people, older people and real young people, to me it's really important that they learn what the basics of this horsemanship are. It doesn't make any difference if you get it 1 day, 5 days, 10 days, or 10 weeks. I don't care. But as long as each step was good and was solid, go at your own pace. Now we'll see if he can kind of come up here and really get comfortable with me. Now, I mentioned too, we're going to want to put a snappable bit in his mouth here one of these days. It'd be nice if he was real good about my hands around his mouth. Now Dale and Pat have been doing quite a bit of this with him, and that's really good stuff. You know, slip this rope in his mouth and use it like a snaffle bit in a little while. Even teach him to back up a step or two with it. So when the bit comes in later, hell, that won't be nothing. You might want to play with it, that's about it. Now I could do a lot of bumping here and get his butt over here to the fence. But today I really don't want that. I just want him to be able to hang out. Now what I'm going to do, which I normally would not do on one that's further along, is just kind of slide down this fence a little bit. Now he got unsure. So, there we go. There we go, partner. See if we can get another foot. Good. Now I can start reaching and petting over his neck there like I would if I was in the saddle. Now he's getting to see me from a little different angle on this eye. When I get him his head right up here, That'll be closer to what I'll look like when I'm on his back. See, I just don't want him to feel like it's a surprise. Because a horse is a prey animal. When a predator attacks, a lion jumps in their back and bites them in the neck and takes them down. They see danger coming with one eye and a route of escape with the other. They're amazing creatures. So I want to make sure that he doesn't put me in the category of a predator. I want him to know that when I'm in here with him, he's safe. Very safe. There's another step. I'm going to fool this halter and move it around a little bit. I'm going to rub on the other side of his neck. I'm going to start putting my arm over his neck kind of heavy. Let's see if we can get another step here. Not sure. He had to step just a hair away from me. That's all right. Can't do anything wrong here. Now let's see if we can line up his feet a little differently. See, now we got him to step down the fence a step or two. So now we'll ask him to come in here again. With your old buddy. Now he's got the weight of his head in my lap, and I'll tell you what, he's got a heavy head. That's all right, he didn't leave it very long. For you people that think you got a horse that's head shy, if you could get it where you could do this, you know, that head shy stuff would go out of the way. There's a few other things you need to do too, but you'll be all right. Now, we're getting closer here to where I want to go next. I'm going to move his feet back over to the fence. There. See, not sure if he can line up to me on the fence yet. That's all right. I don't worry about that now. Today I'm probably not going to worry about whether I get them straight lined up yet. But I'll get them a little better place than this. And then we'll play with getting off this fence and crawling down here in the shoulder well. Because that's the way it's going to be when I get on and get off him on the saddle. So if he can find out now this isn't going to hurt, we'll be all right. Okay, now we'll go back the other way. Now see how much better that was that time? A lot smoother, and he made more distance. Like I said, in the old days, one of us would rope the other guy's horse like this. We'd do some work on this colt from the back of another horse, put the rider on, turn them down, and take the rope off, and we'd have it done. But I don't bounce as good as I used to. I'm not near as coordinated as I once was either. And that goes for people too, as women or kids or people that got disabilities. There's no reason that you can't do anything with your horse if you just take your time. You can enjoy this just as much as anybody. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to move. See, there's the move. He says, well, can I trust that? I said, sure you can. Yeah. Okay, buddy. Now, this first time I climb down the fence, I'm going to do it in a way there. See how I lined up better that time? Now, I haven't got anything against bumping the horse where they finally find that spot. But when they're young like this, I just as soon find it that way. Okay, now when I get ready, it's all right if he moves away. Come on, buddy. Now, if you've noticed there, he followed my feel all the way to the, pretty much to the fence. That's a big deal for him. That's quite a deal he did today. I'm going to lead him up in here. And I'm going to crawl down the fence. And we stay pretty much out in front of him. That didn't bother him too much. Now I'm going to climb up the fence right here, right by his shoulders. They'll get to where you walk towards this fence. Before you can get up on top of the fence, they'll be lined up and be ready to pick you up. I've had several horses that if you turn them loose in the pen with just a reins around the horn, they see me on the fence, they just come by and pick me up without even asking them to. Now I got his attention there. You can see his expression. Like, well, is this going to be all right? Of course it is. I want him to get used to me moving around up here. See, he got a little tight right there. It's all right with me. You'll be all right. A long ways from your heart. But that, we'll see if we can get him to walk his frontal quarters over this way. keeping him nice and hard, firm. I'll go ahead and get down now. That's pretty good for today for him on the fence anyway. We're going to do a couple more things for today. And he's done real nice here today. And just a completely different horse here. And he's my pal. I'm going to walk fast and walk slow around this pen. And I want him to kind of transition up with me to a faster walk, which in my case isn't very fast. And then to get down to baby steps, and he takes baby steps. When I stop, he stops. And I'll get ready to go. Normally I'd have a longer rope. Wait on his feet to get going. Just what I wanted. So now we've got a lot of the basics in here. So each day now we can go start exposing him to things. The flag, more of the rope around his legs, putting a saddle blanket on and off, and where he stays he's just waiting for you to show up to do something. He just can't wait to see you. And they'll get to within less than 3 or 4 days. They see you coming with a halter, they'll meet you at the gate. Say, great, let's go to work. That's good. Yeah, we're pretty much done for day 2. Little guy's done a lot of really nice stuff today. We didn't do anything big. We didn't stir up a lot of trail dust. But what he did right, and he did a lot softer. He's getting way softer about everything. He's got meaning and understanding by the 2nd day. And there's actually some feel starting to build. And now, and you can scan the camera over to Buckshot there, Pat. And this is the horse he really wanted to be. And you come back. About 4 or 5 years ago, Buddy Eldrickson and I were sitting around and we were working a horse or two or whatever. At the end of each ride or session with each horse, we'd sit and talk and visit about the horse and what was accomplished, and we'd sit around like I am right now. And we'd let the horse just kind of hang out with us and everything, and then the horses really got to, several things happen. There's too many times when you're training horses for people, or you're taking horses in for people and riding them. You get through your ride, you go right to the tack room, take your saddle off, and you put them in a stall or a pen.
Horse.
So pretty quick that horse figures out, well, as soon as we can get down to that damn barn, I'll get this damn chunk of dead cow off of my back. This idiot will leave me alone. So this hangout time, they get to where they look forward to doing just this at the end of the ride or the session. And this has a way of doing a lot of things that's really helpful to the peace of mind of the horse itself. So if you can take just a few minutes out at the end of your day with your horse, hang out, and you can do some little things here while you're doing that, like move a foot, ask him to come in. And if you want, you can sit here and you can say, okay, now how about backing up a step or two, release. How about one more step, release. And you can sit there and you can ask for the foot to go over towards Pat or over here. But even while you're sitting around doing nothing, you can get a lot done. That was too much boo. That's all right. That needed to happen too. Now I'm going to work on doing a little thing because of that. There. So we got that out of the way. And there's going to be a day when that snaffle bit goes on And when I put a snaffle bit on, this is where I want their head when that bit goes in the mouth. There might be a 5-year-old girl someday that needs to bridle this horse. Be nice if she could put the bit on down here.
Right.
See, so these are little things that there isn't a horse in the world that doesn't understand it. You can take the worst head shy, ear shy horse in the world in less than a half a day, change it. But it's all in how you present yourself to the horse and the way you present yourself. That's all there is to it. But this hangout time is really good for him. Yeah, that's good, man.